So I've been silent about this for the past couple of weeks or so. The Transformers original name of Beast Alliance movie was being filmed in Montreal over the past couple of weeks. I had the courtesy of being able to be close to the set and check out a bunch of stuff, and now we could finally talk about everything. Big press release today. Paramount, E1 Entertainment, and Hasbro dropping all the info. Big interview with Steven Caple Jr., the director. A lot of crazy stuff revealed, and some stuff, in all honesty, that hasn't been revealed yet, but has been kind of public anyways on the streets of Montreal, so we'll get into that. We'll get into that today. Some new information today. And you could read in between the lines of what I'm going to talk about. Let's get into that, shall we? So, we know today that the movie is called Transformers Rise of the Beasts. I did not even know that when I was near the set. That was all not even on the clappers. Let's put it this way. It's going to be the 7th movie in the live-action franchise thus far, and it has a planned release date of June 24th, 2022. Kind of interesting how Montreal had just wrapped up, and we're now going to be exactly almost 1 year away from the release date as of this recording. The movie is going to take place in 1994, and the two locations that will be this movie's primary focus is Peru, which is being filmed in, I'm going to mispronounce this, Machu Picchu, and Brooklyn, New York is going to be another primary focus of the movie, which they're using Montreal to film. I've always said that Montreal is the New York of Canada in terms of structure and shape, and, well, I'm proven right with that for sure when it comes to filming. It's not the first time it's been done. That being said, the movie is going to be featuring Autobots, Decepticons, Maximals, Predacons, and they all use their faction symbols as they're traditionally known, as well as the new big bad of the movie, the Terrorcons. And listen to me when I say this, think Unicronian, let's put it that way, was the emphasis going on here. It's a sequel to the Bumblebee movie. In timeline, in story-wise, that's how it works. Steven Caple Jr. kind of is going out of his way to make it that it's yes-no part of the Bayverse. It really is separated from it. We're going to see how it really churns out in a final product, but it really is supposed to be something that's kind of separate from the Bayverse, kind of like the Bumblebee movie was, where it could be its own thing or it could not. The emphasis is going to be on human civilization and the Transformers affecting it. We have the Incas involved and the Cybertronians seeing their traditions and ways of life through their eyes, stuff like that. The Maximals and the Predacons will be a big feature and a big focus of the film. And while the Terracons are not linked to the Predacons, which are also bad guys in the movie, the Terracons kind of have their own agenda working for their big main villain. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Optimus Prime is going to be in the movie, of course, voiced by Peter Cullen, no surprise, and it's going to be a tweaked up version of the traditional, already known Generation 1 looking design that was originally seen in the Bumblebee movie. Now, as for Bumblebee himself, it's a classic Camaro with some off-road extensions. Anyone that was watching my Twitter, you got to see what he was just before getting those upgrades. It's kind of a midway in between the two of them in a lot of ways. It's a second generation 70s Camaro, the Z28. The whole work there. Gonna have chunky wheels, light bar like Ratchet, the whole 9 yards, everything like that. Mirage is in the movie. And interestingly enough, and this is a big one, he's going to be a silver and blue Porsche 911. So it looks like Porsche is on board. They got Volkswagen for the first Bumblebee movie to finally play nice. Now Porsche, which is owned by Volkswagen, is getting involved. Poor Jazz. He didn't get his Porsche debut. But Mirage is going to be a Porsche. The characterization is going to be that of an anti-authoritative kind of figure. Again, that's kind of how he was. He kind of was, when you look at the past of the character with the episode The Traitor and stuff like that. Is he an aristocrat? Is he someone that's running by his own agenda? It's going to be a movie version of Mirage. That's all we could really take away from it. And he's going to be silver and blue, so he's almost there in the colors. I'm curious really how the final robot mode will look, if it's going to throw back to that of the original Generation 1 design, even though that was a Formula 1 car. Now, RC's in the movie, and RC is going to have a robot mode that looks exactly like her Generation 1 counterpart, but she's now going to transform into a Ducati 916 motorcycle. She's going to have her red and her pinkish and white kind of color scheme, her classic Generation 1 head, and racing numbers and everything on her legs. She looks really great. People are going to love it. It's got that Generation 1 flavor, not like how she was in the original 2007 movie toy line, or later on how she appeared in the the Revenge of the Fallen kind of RC twins kind of thing going on. This is G1 RC with a motorcycle twist. Now then, we get into the Terracons, and this is where it gets interesting. So here's a trademark save for everybody. So Nightbird is going to be in the movie. She's going to be a Nissan GTR, which is one of the most legendary street racing cars in Japanese culture, which it almost seems kind of, apt that works, because Nightbird, Japanese origins, is the ninja character and her creator, and she transforms into a car that was exclusively, for the longest time, only in the Japanese market, and is a legendary Japanese street racing car. She is part of the Terracon. She's going to have her purplish gray color scheme. Very much looks like her Generation 1 counterpart. The face mask, the robot-looking hood kind of thing of the ninja look. And she's going to have a faction swapping kind of concept. So once again, think Unicronian, think Sideways. Purple, the face mask like Sideways, just like Nightbird. Faction swapping, working for the big bad. Think about that one. Read between the lines. Figure that yourself. Then you have Scourge. Scourge is going to be in the movie. Wonder who Scourge is working for. Oh, he's the leader of the Terracons. And he's a trophy hunter. Think like how Lockdown was in the movies. He has this thing where when he kills somebody, he steals their faction emblem. And considering that there's 4 factions that he could steal from, both Maximals and Predacons and the Autobots and the Decepticons. And, then he kind of applies them to his body. He has these 4 big smokestacks on his back. And while we don't know what the alt mode is, it is probably this dual indication of Scourge, a.k.a. the sweep character working for a Unicronian kind of leader, if you will. I wonder who. But also, judging by the smokestacks and his more black to dark gray color scheme, also a nod to Black Convoy, a.k.a. the Western version of Robots in Disguise Scourge. So a lot of double parallels there. Interesting use of the name, considering its West and East connotations. Let's jump into the Maximals. We first got, of course, Optimus Primal. Picture that the last night CG mock-up art, but now has tons of fur. Rustic kind of look to him. Again, picture the Maximal leader, but with a more kind of robotic base spin on it. But hey, he's in the movie, and he is the leader of the Maximals. Then we got Rhinox, the brains of the group. Steampunk kind of look, rusty. Kind of has an Ironhide look. And again, just kind of is there to be the tough old guy who's kind of also smart and everything like that. We'll learn more about him in the future. We have Air Razor, a robotic bird lady. Looks like it's going to be using a real-world bird. And there's not much really that can be said about it except her blue glowing eyes. So Air Razor's in the movie. Pretty cool. There's also another one, but I'll get into that in a moment. In Montreal, filming has wrapped up at this point in my nice hometown of Montreal. And soon enough, they will begin shooting in Peru for the next 6 weeks for all of that stuff. The Bumblebee film was a small budget film. This one is going to be a big summer blockbuster, so a different budget completely for this one. Now, Steven Caple Jr. did a little bit of an interview and talked about how when he was in high school, Beast Wars was out on TV, and he loved it, as was I. Steven Caple Jr. also mentioned what are his goals with the film, and he says he wants to bring the heart of the characters to the point that why do we even need humans? I like his cut of his jib. Sounds good. Sounds good indeed. The movie is being put through a lot of different phases right now and locations to accommodate the giant robots, so everything makes sense when people are put into it or plopped into it. He was a huge fan of the concept art when he first started all of this, and he's super excited about it. And he mentioned there's characters that have not been seen in the movie. Now, I feel that I'm able to talk about it now because I saw it on set, and so did a lot of other people that were not part of the movie biz. Let's just say there was a cardboard cutout of a stand-in for the actors to emote to and talk to of a certain character that is ultra gear. Let's put it that way. And he said there's more to be shown even outside of that, which I can't divulge right now. The challenges were bringing the Maximals to the big screen, he said. He didn't want it to be too cheesy because he also wanted that they could somehow hide out in the open and it could make sense. You know, it's hard to work fur with CG sometimes and make it look legit, and I don't blame him there. He wants to put together this journey of a movie that when you walk away from it, you feel satisfied that you watched something good. He says the characters are all about the spectacle, and it's all going to be amazing. And he said his favorite character in Rise of the Beasts has not yet been revealed, which might be Ultra Gear for someone that grew up with it. And they said here, based on what they've seen from Rise of the Beasts, it's going to have a killer toy line. So that's what we have right now. And more is going to be pouring out over the next couple of days and weeks. A lot of stuff is going to be public soon. A lot of photos were taken and will start surfacing. So get ready for that, people. Right now, as we speak right now, Beast Wars is trending on Twitter. This is a big deal. This is a really big deal. Transformers hasn't been trending on Twitter in a very long time. So the Beasts are back, the 90s are here, and get hyped. Love or hate Beast Wars, this is your next Transformer movie, and you better get ready for it.